Hi everybody, to my second reaction on Jan, who ought to have been representing Eurovision Poland this year in Liverpool in England. We talked extensively of my anger towards the judges, and there has been a lot of information that's come forward from you, the Polish fans, to me, and saying, CC, please react again to this particular song. This particular song became an anthem last year in the summer in Poland for Jan, and it really launched him. And what's happened now on social media is 90,000 people protested in a petition that was totally ignored by the judges in the TV program that selects the people to represent Poland in Eurovision. We all know they're corrupt. We know one of the judges already, a choreographer that was sitting on the judging panel, was related to, and for legal reasons, I won't name the artist representing Poland in 2023 this year in Liverpool for legal reasons. But we all know that there is a connection, because that choreographer used to do previous videos with that said person who's representing Poland this year and do the dance routines in the videos. So there was a connection already made, which when you think of Ukraine, when you think of how Kalush found a similar connection and pushed themselves forward and said, you're the judge that's connected to the artist you say is representing our country. That's unfair. We deserve to be the representatives because we were chosen by the people. And they went on to win their case and got more and more people in Ukraine backing them up. The same situation in Poland. We all know they're corrupt. We know there's a connection to the choreographer. For the person that is now representing your country, Poland, we all know 90,000 people protested and it was totally ignored by the TV stations. And do you know what's happened? Jan is the man. Yeah, Jan is now 1 million Spotifyers are now following him. His videos have jumped up to multi-millions, and he's now coming on shows with this song and rebirthing all his old music. But do you know, we need to talk about, and I want to go, that Met the God that I'm going to feature today comes from Jan's Power EP album. Now, there's only 5 songs on the album, and I was going through the different titles. Emperor's New Clothes, that was recommended to me, and Lookalike, that was recommended to me as well. And I thought, do you know, Met the God? I think he's met the God now, and he probably feels, oh, all this euphoria over me and the Eurovision, and it couldn't have come at a better time in his career. He's a gifted guy, and the judges were wrong. We know you're corrupt, the Polish judges for Eurovision, and I hope you're all sacked for what you've done, because the person that's representing Poland is getting no views for videos on YouTube. I've been watching, and this man, in protest for the televotes that he got, all the people have come behind him and supported him, and it's gone viral. You're looking at a global superstar, everybody. A global superstar that is well educated. And for those people on, I would say, English-speaking side of the water here, Jan is a Polish singer-songwriter, musician, grew up in Garwolin, moved to the city of Lurgan in Northern Ireland, where he lived until 2018. He was educated at Flynn Performing Arts in Newry, and from 2018 to 22 he studied vocals in London, and he currently lives and creates in Warsaw, the capital of Poland. Now, other things about this song is this. He released his debut EP Power last March, which was positively received by critics, audiences alike, as benefits a singer of the young generation. He took the media, social platforms by storm, and on the stage, Dobry TVN presented the song Met the God, and it's because they honored him and did that I'm going to feature this version from Dobry TVN. Now, Jan has been involved in music since he was a child. He sang at the National Opera, trained at Flynn Performing Arts in Newry, Northern Ireland, here in Ireland, and studied vocal at the prestigious London BIMM. He boasts an extremely rare voice, a counter-tenor voice. I will, in my next reaction, get into that. Despite his classical education, his work has drifted towards ambitious pop and alternative music. He did debut with the single Do You Wanna Come Over, which I'll feature in my next reaction. A lot of people have asked me to. That captivated the crowds of fans and gathered momentum for lots of people wanting to know more about him. And currently he collaborates with producers from Poland and Great Britain. Now also with the Irish connection, he's got a fan club growing and growing because more and more people like myself are pushing the Jan X factor that he has. Liquid Gold voice, classically trained, well educated, performing arts, big fan club, launched an EP, had everything going, and went and had people who sat and judged him. And I found out a comment that I am still sitting here going, what? One of the judges justified their comments in saying, I didn't vote for Jan because Jan exposes too much of his navel, which is the middle part of the stomach where the belly button is. So he exposes his belly button. What the hell do you think, I'm sorry to that judge, that the artist who's representing Poland in 2023 this year is exposing her chest, her ass? Everything couldn't be sucked in and tight enough, and she's there performing, showing all of that. So let's be specific here. It's okay for a female artist to do that, but Jan cannot show his navel. I'm just going to think, you know what I would do with that judge? I would name and shame that judge if that judge happened to be an Irish judge, and I would absolutely keep the momentum up until I got that judge removed from any form of judging again. Absolutely stupid excuse. Let's be fair why it happened, why Jan didn't get the judges' votes. Number one, the choreographer that was one of the judges is gay. Most choreographers are. I would argue, come and tell me, a gay person, you're not gay. Of course you're gay, and you do all your dance routines and you're behind the scenes promoting people. I'm so angry, it's unbelievable, because I said in the first reaction, all the judges thought with this. They didn't think with their mind. You had a winning act, and the reason you didn't choose Jan was because of Jan's personality, Jan's sexuality, and Jan can't be defined into a certain category. And that was too risque for you judges. So you all had, and the big macho men behind the scenes, the corrupt guys who were taking all the money from the Jan fans telephoning, were quite happy to take your money, but didn't present you with the true artist that should have represented your country. And here's another reason why he should have represented your country. Take it away, Jan. Let's listen. Let's enjoy. Let's savor your voice again. And I'll be back with the lyrics. Take it away, Jan.
He said when you pray for me at night, it only makes her mad. Tell me when you get it, that you just obey it blindly. Tell me, God Almighty, if you don't like my presence, why would you invite me? Hyperventilating too long week. Power in your voice won't let me sleep. Don't be pretentious, I know that you've heard it before. One hiding man is protected and worshipped by all.
I don't even know what I'm supposed to say, like.
Don't tell me about my sins, I met the guy, he said that it's alright. He said when you pray for me at night, it only makes presence, why would you invite me? Look at my bruises and my scars, my body and my mind. Look me in the eye, tell me that you're right. Your power, take it. I don't want it, save it. You gon' need it later when you finally face it. When you finally face it. Don't tell me about my sins, I'm mad to God, he said that it's alright. He said when you pray for me at night, it only makes them mad. Tell me when you get it, that you just obey blindly. Tell me, God Almighty, if you don't like my presence, why would you invite me? Tell me, God Almighty, if you don't like my presence, why would you invite me?
Well, Jan, I do like your presence, and that's why I invited you onto my channel twice, and I'm going to be reacting to all throughout 2023 of your incredible releases. And I think there's a single called Promise, and a lot of people have definitely asked me to react to that, and I've seen the images, and I want to react to everything. I want to do as many reactions before Eurovision to absolutely shame those judges. But let's get into the lyrics. Jumped out at me of this particular song, Met the God, and I thought about the lyrics, and I thought there's a really deep meaning to them. I'm going to give you my interpretation. First of all, everybody, on my first reaction, everybody said, CC, that is not what the lyrics are about. That's not what the lyrics are about. No. And I had to apologize 200 times to people in various comments on platforms I have, and say, listen, I wasn't saying that the lyrics were not connected to corruption and all of that, but I felt after a long introduction, just like this video, the lyrics deserved a fresh look, a different perspective, and that's what I do on my channel. I don't follow social media and say, okay, the lyrics are about this. Remember one thing, all lyrics in all songs are open to interpretation. And when you think of lyrics for all songs throughout the world, your favorites, my favorites, we could have a favorite like we do with Jan, but the lyrics would mean something different to you and different to me. And isn't it nice to get both perspectives? I just thought I'd say that for what it's worth. The chorus says in this song, don't tell me about my sins, I've met the God. He said that it's all right, ha ha ha. He said that when you pray for me at night, it only makes him mad. Ha ha ha. Tell me when you get it, that you just obey it blindly. Tell me, God Almighty, if you don't like my presence, why would you invite me? And then the verse, hyperventilating, and you see that, till I'm weak. Power in your voice won't let me sleep. Don't be pretentious, I know that you've heard it before. Warm-hearted menace, protected and worshipped by all. I didn't mean it at all. I was upset, man. I honestly feel this is a biographical song, and it's about Jan when he was young. And Jan, if I'm wrong, I hold my hands up, but this is what the lyrics screamed at me. It's almost like Jan, becoming Jan, was put in a box when he was young, and society and people lived a certain way, but Jan's way of thinking was more creative, more outgoing, more whatever. And I feel, and I'm going to put it this way, I'm not for legal reasons saying it's Jan's father, okay, but I feel there was a male presence in Jan's life that said, the way you're dressing, the way you're acting, the way you're thinking isn't right. Here in Poland, we think different. We think like a man. Become a man. And he had the man attitude and finger pointed at him. This is what it says. Because tell me when you get it, that you just obey it blindly. So he was trying to be himself, but he was forced against someone who's telling him the way it has to be. And then he reverted to prayer, and he thought, because I feel there was a religious element in Jan's life when he was young, and I felt he was looking at God and saying, God, get me out of this craziness. I want to be myself. And he was told it was sinful. Maybe Jan put on a dress, dressed feminine, had his mother's jewelry, did something that caused craziness. I can tell you of an instant when I was young. My sister wore this frilly dress, my eldest sister, and I was so fascinated by all the attention she got with it that I thought I would put it on. And I did put it on, and I went, oh, I don't understand why women are, why everybody loves this dress. And I was like twirling around, and I remember my father coming in, and he just looked and said, take that off you. That belongs to your sister, not you. And I took it off, folded it, and put it away. And I almost felt my story coming through these lyrics. And it was hyperventilating, and I was hyperventilating because I had my father's voice say to me, and he was warm and it was meaningful. Girls wear dresses, not boys. You can never wear a dress. Otherwise, people will mock you and beat you up outside. I can't protect you outside, so I'm protecting you inside. Don't do it again. That's what he said to me. Kind words, but meaningful. But he went away to my mother really angry. And here it said it only makes him mad. Becoming yourself does make the other person mad. Being yourself, trying to break into a world where you feel happy, and learning about what you can and cannot do. But unfortunately, we live by so many rules. I felt it was just jumping at me. He said, warm-hearted menace, protected and worshipped by all. It didn't mean it all. I was upset, man. So in other words that were exchanged, probably Jan shouted, they shouted back, and he became brave and said, look, this is me. Caused conflict. Because it continues, don't tell me about my sins, I've met the God. He said it's all right. Ha ha ha. So he mocks religion, mocks prayer, and he's more or less saying, because maybe he heard the words, God will strike you down if you keep acting like this, dressing like this, becoming like this. You be a man, you be blah, blah, blah. And he's almost saying, he's almost laughing at that. And you say your prayers and get on your knees and ask God for forgiveness. Because he said, tell me when you get it. In other words, he's asking the person saying these things to him, come on, tell me when you get it, when you understand me. And he said, and if you don't like my presence, why would you invite me? In other words, if you don't like his presence, he's wondering why God always forgives and forgets and loves everybody. He questions everything, the moral standards, what's supposed to be right, what's supposed to be wrong. And it's almost like he's just now laughing at the world. Let them think what they think. The bridge says, look at my bruises and scars, my body and mind. Bruises and scars come in words, they come in actions, they come in thoughts, they come in many, many ways. When people say nasty things to you, when people don't accept you for what you are, when you feel isolated, excluded, I feel this is what this powerful song, I've met the God, I've said my prayers, but he didn't answer them, is all about. And he talks about power taken away. I don't want to save it. You're going to need it later when you finally face it. What is facing it? It's facing it in the lyrics. It's the truth. But it's when the other people have to face it. Is the most difficult aspect of Jan's life, I feel. Because he says, when you finally face it, he reinforces that. It's a statement. When you face the truth, you realize I'm not the only one, but this is me, and this is how I'm going to be. Accept it or get out of my life. Because he continues, don't tell me about my sins. In other words, he's been told it's sinful to become like what you do. You're a man. Your genitalia, everything is a man. You can't be like this. And be feminine and cross over and be in a certain group and think a certain way. You have to be like this. It's almost, the lyrics are almost shouting that at me. And then he's laughing. Then it only makes him mad. Who's he talking about making him mad? I feel a male figure in his life that's mad about how Jan has become as a person. And then it says, tell me, God. In other words, all the prayers that he's been forced to ask for forgiveness, tell me he's asking. He said, Almighty, if you don't like my presence, why would you invite me? In other words, why would I be asked to pray to you, the Almighty person who allegedly forgives all sins? Why would I be invited in your presence? So he questions the religious aspect. And he says, tell me, God Almighty, if you don't like my presence, why would you invite me? So it's symbolic, this song, of culture, sexuality, childhood. It's biographical and it's powerful. And that is Jan. And that's why he should have represented Poland. Oh, you stupid, stupid judges. I have another reaction coming and more information to give you about the judges' stupidity. Talk soon. Bye-bye.